All right, welcome back to the food truck. So bit of meta knowledge here, but I'm actually recording this only like an hour after the last part. I was gonna call it for the day because I was kind of feeling a little out of it, but then I saw the announcement trailer for the new Final Fantasy XIV update for the Arcadian Heavyweight, and holy crap, man, they got Tom Morello in on it. They got Tom Morello to work on Everything Burns.
For now, here's a sneak peek at Everything Burns. Check it out.
Oh my gosh, that song sounds sick. It's like, people are really cranky about Dawn Trail in general as its story, but oh man, the music has been knocked out of the park with this one. It's like Shadowbringers all over again, just banger after banger after banger. Oh man. But anyway, my nerdgasm aside, let's talk about this nerd right here. Oh jeez, I'm just super excited for that. The lazy, crackly sound in his voice has returned in full force. His eyes are distant. It's okay. Are you okay? Uh, for anybody who might not remember the part just before this, Chase had come over to his Carl's house, and they went to the basement to go and find some old stuff, some historical stuff, and they were interrupted when Carl's mom called him, and it sounded like he got legitimately angry at something his mom told him to do because he's like, how am I supposed to do that without a car? But, so then after a bit, we followed him back up, and I guess now he's toked up in his bedroom, so he grins toothily. Dude, I'm more than okay. Since there's nowhere else to sit, I end up sitting down on the foot of his bed. Do they. Do they let you smoke in here? The smell in his room is layered and old, like the walls have been blanketed in the smell several times before. Yup. They gave up trying to stop me. Better to be in the house rather than getting caught by some cop outside. Better to be in the house rather than getting caught by some cop outside. They just made me promise that I wouldn't ever try something harder. Good thing they don't know I've already tried dick. He puts a lot of emphasis on the K, as the bad joke seems to just dribble out of his mouth. So I guess it's like, I guess it's good they don't know I already tried dick. Huh. I lean back on the bed, and that's when I notice his flat screen, just a 48-inch. Well, it's not the size; it's how you use it. A list of video files displayed on it. What you watching? Oh! Carl grunts as he sits up and reaches for a game controller. Our old movies. I was gonna show you some of them. How about birthday? Sure. He scrolls down the list, then stops when Carl's 8th is highlighted and presses play. Oh, the happy music! Hold on, I need to make sure. Ooh, this is a little loud. Alright, like I said, last one, I've been having some issues with YouTube's content ID being a dick. So, hopefully doesn't get too mad at me about this. Even though I went onto the Echo Discord and they said that all the music is technically like royalty-free, fair use music, so I don't know what YouTube's doing. Whatever. The backyard I was in an hour earlier pops up on the screen. Now a long table sits in the middle of the lawn along with a massive bounce house. And not just any bounce house, but a giant two-story one you'd find in the state fair. Oh, one of those. Timestamped April 19th, 2002. Fuck, I remember this. There are about 20 kids, mostly in the bounce house, and most of whom I've forgotten. Right now, though, the camera's zooming in on an 8-year-old Carl. He's messing with a giant Nerf gun, the kind that no kid ever gets because they're so damn expensive. And that's when 8-year-old me enters the picture, holding a much smaller Nerf gun. His parents gave everyone a goodie bag that day. It had toys in it that I might not have been able to get on my own birthday. My kid's my kid self puts the gun to Carl's head and pulls the trigger. The dart bounces off one of his horns. I specifically remember that moment. I had thought the suction at the end of the dart was going to stick, but of course it didn't. Man, this brought me back to when I was a kid. There was a particular section of Arkansas. I'm going to be a little vague so as to not dox myself. But there was a particular neighborhood that I lived around in Arkansas that had a bunch of very well off families. I'm talking like, big 3-story houses and stuff like that. Everybody had a pool. And I remember when I got a friend in that neighborhood, suddenly it wouldn't be weird for my family to be in that neighborhood. So when I had a friend in that neighborhood, uh, I only ever got to see him every now and again because he was on like the whole other side of town. But we went there and we trick or treated there, and holy crap, we found out that a lot of the people there were like vendors for like like vendors. So we got like a whole, like, not the big bottles, but like like the tall bottles of like Highlands chocolate milk. We went down the street and we got like whole king-sized Hershey bars, and like everybody in that neighborhood was giving out like just big whole candies and like stuff like that, and it was just like the coolest thing ever. And that's kind of the moment where, when I was a kid, that I realized that some people just get to live a different life based on their tax bracket. The audio is filled with a deep chuckle. Carl's dad behind the camera. You were a dick back then. What? I was 8! Still, you blew out my candles. Oh yeah. He got so mad about that. I would be too, man! Don't fuck... Man. That's like that golden child sister story where basically the parents made his birthday about the sister. God, I just remember that story because of how bizarre it was, because apparently the parents just enabled the sister so much that she started putting gummy bears on mashed potatoes, and the parents were fine with it because, hey, she's eating the mashed potatoes. I start to settle back and smile. It's been a long time since I've watched a home movie, and I've forgotten how nice it is to have this method of looking back. Kind of like when I get stuck on scrolling through all the old images on my phone. My younger self is trying to help Carl with the gun, lifting up the barrel and looking into the opening. Careful! Kid Chase pulls his head back with a jolt as Carl's dad yells, then mutters behind the camera. Let's see how long it takes him to trick Carl. Takes him to trick Carl into trading with him. Carl's dad sounds exasperated, but good-natured. Still makes me blush a bit, now knowing how aware Jem was of my taking advantage of his son. Our struggles with the Nerf gun gets the attention of another kid, though. My breath catches in my throat as Sydney bounces into frame. I can feel Carl tensing up next to me, and he starts to lean for the game controller. And here comes the Mormon boy. The disgust in Carl's dad's voice shocks me, and I hear Carl whisper a curse next to me as he fumbles the controller. Sydney reaches out and pulls the gun away from Carl as he looks it over, grinning. Suddenly the screen switches back to the file menu, and when both and we both sit there in silence for a few seconds. Fuck. So Sydney was just a bully? Like, he was just a bully? What the fuck? Sorry. I guess I forgot about that. Of course Sydney was going to be at that party, but I'd honestly forgotten too. If there was any way to perfectly ruin the mood, that had been it. I glanced over at Carl and see him looking down at the gamepad, ears lowered, the insides red. Hey, it's okay. I mean, maybe it's a good thing to watch my dad. I didn't know he'd say that. I'd rather not find out what else he said. Yeah. I look around trying to find something, anything, to distract us from what just happened. My eyes fall on the shelves holding Carl's game library. Want to play a game? It's just like old times as we co-op through Winter Castle. The fact that he still has the old save files from when he was in college makes it all the more nostalgic. I get so into it that it gets dark outside without me even knowing, and pretty soon I'm looking out at the purple sky reluctantly. About time I get back. Carl sighs and pauses the game before stretching and dropping the controller onto his bed. Come on. Sure you can't stick around? I dunno. I don't have any clothes or toothbrush. We could walk over and get them. Carl seems pretty determined to make me stay, and there's not one reason why I can't, so I relent. Alright, yeah, this could be fun. Yes. Carl looks happy, almost relieved. It'll be just like old times. He rolls to his hooves. And speaking of old times, let's make a pizza. I've suddenly caught Carl's enthusiasm. Oh, look at this kitchen. Ain't this nice? It's got a floating island and everything. We go into the massive kitchen and pull a big frozen pizza from the fridge, and while it bakes, we sit at the counter and talk. At this point, the haze of pot is lifted from Carl's face, and he's animated and excited again, swiveling on one of the counter stools. And this is what I mean when I say I'm a little judgmental of people who are on pot constantly. Because to you, you're relaxed, you're calm. But to everyone around you, it's like you're not there. It's like those weird commercials that you used to see where the person is just deflated and like flat, like they're a balloon. That's just kind of like draped over the furniture or whatever. That's kind of how you look. And it's like, why? Because to me, it tells me that you need to relax, but why do you need to relax when you're spending time with me? Am I too much? Am I being too much for you to handle sober? Do you do you not want to hang out with me? Do you need it to like it just feels like I'm not good enough or I'm doing something wrong when my friends needed to smoke pot. And when and then the part that drives me up the wall is I even mentioned it to him. I was like, hey guys, we're playing D&D here, and I get that we want to relax and stuff, but can we cut down on the toking a little bit? I mean, you guys do kind of zombie out a little bit by halfway through because of how much you smoke. And they did. They friggin' did. So it's like, so you don't need it. So you don't need it. And I didn't want like, and I wasn't being a hard ass about it. I was just like, hey guys, I just, I want to play a little bit of a more serious game. So like, can we, Just cut it out a little bit. I don't care if you guys smoke. I'm not a prude about it. It doesn't bother me. It's just when everybody's all zombied out halfway through. So it's just, I have this weird relationship with it, especially since that's kind of what my mom would do. She would just come home, light up, and she'd just be in her bedroom until she cooked dinner. If she cooked dinner, a lot of the time she would just text us and say, "Hey, fend for yourself tonight." Or, I started the trend of saying FFYS, fend for yourself. And so that would just be it, you know, where we'd have to go and make our own food. And that's a lot of what I remember. I guess being a shut in for me was a learned behavior, but whatever. This whole thing's about me a lot already, so let's keep going. For the first time in almost 10 years, I'm giddy and excited in the way you only get when you're at a sleepover. That makes it a little more jarring when he pulls out some beers, but I'm happy to have a few. We guzzle them down as we talk about past sleepovers. Pretty soon, our reminiscing drifts into the present, and that's when the conversation slows a bit, Carl having less to say. I try to change the subject and tell him that he should come back to school. He just smiles and shakes his head. Oh, are we gonna get another dream? 3 hours later, we're both laying back on Carl's bed and head to toe, having just watched a shitty action movie. Oh, I wonder if it was the old Uwe Ball House of the Dead movie. That movie is so notoriously bad. All of Uwe Ball's movies are notoriously awful. By the way, if somebody sends this to Uwe Ball and he's hearing this right now, no, I refuse to get in a cage fight with you. No, go away. We didn't end up going out to get my stuff, so I'm just in my boxers, pleasantly drowsy and buzzed. I hear Carl snuffle and look down my chest at him. What's up? He looks over at me and shrugs. Nothing. Just thinking. I don't think I need to censor this. What about? During our past sleepovers, Carl had always been afraid to be the last one to fall asleep. He'd try to keep me up by talking, rolling over on top of me, and sometimes just by throwing shit at me. I wonder if that's what he's doing now. Oh, he's so lonely. Oh, buddy. I don't know. Life? That's a lot to think about. Not for me. I look over at him again. He's holding one paw up, looking through his fingers at the ceiling fan. You're just figuring things out. Carl lets his arm flop back down over his head, blowing out a sigh. I'm not figuring things out, man. I don't say anything. It's cool that he's reaching out to me, but I'm not sure I can offer any advice that he hasn't heard before. I I just wish I could be doing something. Oh, fuck. Here we go again. Um, I might have to cut out some crying this episode too, because that hits pretty close to home. I think for a moment. You've done a lot more than some people I know. I mean, your art is great. You did go to school even if you dropped out and you were working while you could. There are a lot of people out there who can't even say that. Carl laughs, but it's a sad kind of laugh. Try saying that to my mom. She's always got something to do, always wants to do something. I just I just don't feel that. He turns his head towards me. I wish I did, Chase, but I just can't. His voice catches in his throat and I shrink a bit into the bed, pretending not to notice. The beer we've had is definitely partly to blame for this. He turns his head toward the wall, though, and I'm guiltily relieved that when he talks again, his voice is under control. I just wish it wasn't such a goddamn chore for me to just go outside, you know? I didn't know, but I nod anyway, even if he can't see. He's waiting for me to say something, though, so I clear my throat. Oh, no. Alright, this is gonna be the Carl page. Uh, I mean, everybody always points out Carl has an issue. Carl's got a problem. Like Jenna and Flynn are always dicks to him about it, and apparently his parents are rough on him too. So maybe we console him and tell him that it's okay. Because I'm not gonna lie, one of the most relieving things that has taken the burden of life off of me has been listening to some of the recordings by Alan Watts. If you haven't heard him before, you've probably heard me quote him, even if I do it subconsciously at this point. Um, Alan Watts was a philosopher, and some of his some of the things he said have been so enlightening into the way I perceive my own life to be. And so relieving to know that the beauty of life in the universe isn't this grand cosmological experience. It isn't this epic journey that is to be challenged and conquered. It's this. I want you, the viewer, to think about this for a second. Do I exist? You think to yourself, well, of course you do. You're right here you've made this video and I am watching it. But if you had never found this video, if we never spoke on Discord, would I still exist? And you would logically say, well, yes. But the simple fact is, you couldn't know. Because the universe is centered around you. It's not revolving around you, but it's centered around you. You have eyes, so you can see my little icon on the bottom right here. You can see the difficult choice I have to make, even though it's not a super hard one. You have ears, so you can hear my voice. You have skin with nerves, so you can feel the earbuds or feel whatever you're sitting in or whatever you're doing. Without that, you would have nothing. There would be nothing. The most beautiful thing about being a human and being able to recognize and have introspective thought is the eventual realization that we are life observing itself. The universe doesn't have eyes. Trees and rocks, they don't have ears, they don't have noses, they don't have any of that. We do. And we have a complex enough brain function to recognize it, to recognize that we do. So stop trying to find enlightenment because you have it. It's already there, inside you. And I want you to remember that. Okay? So let's console Carl a little bit and tell him it's fine. You know, Carl, some people are just like that. He looks down at me but doesn't say anything. If it's so hard to get out, then just don't. People figure things out eventually, and if you always just want to stay at home, then do that. Just to try to figure out a way to sustain yourself. That's pretty much the gist of what my therapist told me. Do what makes you happy. He watches me for a few seconds. So is all that. Are all those problems you had taken care of now? I hope so. We lay in silence for a little while before I finally speak up. Listen, I'll probably come back a few times this week to work with that history stuff. Well, why don't we go out and do something? That would be nice. I grin, glad I'm making Carl feel better. Cool. Let's plan on it. Carl puts a paw behind his ear and smiles. It's cool that you're here, Chase. It's cool to be here, Carl. And not just because it's nice to have someone to talk to. Huh? No, this house is fucking haunted. Okay, well, I need to go to work now. So, heck, I guess I'll see y'all in the next one as we explore a haunted house. After all, it's got 999 happy haunts, but it has room for one more. Catch y'all at the next time. I gotta go clean out the deep fryers again.